I'm so sick of these people. You know. Oh,
I'm the tribal chief around here. Yeah, you see me, the tribal chief. That's right.
I got that thing on me. I got that stick. I got that tool. I'm packing.
You must be some kind of a dumbass.
and I will never retire.
You know, this aggression will not stand, man.
Get that garbage out of here!
It doesn't matter what you think.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Friday Night Review. I am Scalz, joined by my co-host Cam. But tonight we have a special guest. We have somebody coming directly from Fightful.com. He is the co-host of Coexisting, Mr. Rob Wilkins. How are we doing tonight?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk Smackdown and just a little bit of wrestling. So thanks again for having me tonight.
Well, we appreciate you taking your time out of your evening to come join us. So let's get to it. Let's discuss SmackDown. What did we think of this opening segment with The Rock and Roman Reigns?
So, man, I don't know. The whole thing. I'll say this: it does have that entertainment or the entertaining aspect towards it. Rock was on Twitter earlier, and he had this whole like 15-minute spiel about the whole thing or whatever. I thought that was pretty much a lot of people were saying that was a better explanation than what they had 2 weeks ago in that promo that he had. I feel like this promo with him was kind of more or less the same. It was just him pretty much insulting the audience. I think he said crack and cocaine like at least 7 times towards the audience. So I don't know. It's interesting. The thing I do like though is that we set up the tag team match finally, and that's very interesting. And I like the stipulation to it too. It's not just a tag team match for the sake of a tag team match. If Cody is able to beat Rock and Roman with him and Seth are able to beat Rock and Roman, there will be no bloodline involvement at all with Rock or with Roman and Cody. Night 2 at WrestleMania. I like that. So yeah, it's good for what it is. I really don't care to see Rock in a ring in 2024, but that's just me. But he'll have Roman to pretty much rely on to take, I guess, more of the reps, more of the bumps in the match. It's not like him just working a solo match for 20-30 minutes or whatever. So, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, and as I said, the main thing I got out of it was the tag team match setup.
Yeah, for sure. Like I agree with everything you said there. I think the biggest thing too is The Rock was dropping facts. And what I mean by that is he was 100% correct with what he said about Phoenix, about the meth use. It is number 1 in this country. They do lead the country in that, followed by Mesa, Arizona at number 2. So that was the fact that he said that. And now you're asking like, why do I know? Because in our Fightful chat, we actually decided hey, we should fact check this. And sure enough, he was right. So we were like, wow. So, but yeah, that was the thing. He started with a bang this morning or this afternoon with that promo that he did on Cody. And then you get the SmackDown tonight, which was just, I thought was fire. It was 40 minutes. So I'm pretty close to it.
Yeah.
I part of me is like, you know what? The only thing I've always heard is if The Rock's going on, you might as well somebody's match is going to get cut. If The Rock's on TV, somebody's match is going to get cut. And that's what happened tonight. And that's okay. It's one of those things where he's going to be here for a little bit and he's going to be back doing his normal thing. And that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. But the ending was of that promo where Roman stopped him.
Yeah.
I was I was stunned when he did that. I was like, did he just put his hands on The Rock? Like, and then you had The Rock acknowledging him.
Yeah, which is wild.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, the
Exactly.
match that did get cut, according to, because I'm a subscriber to Fightful, so I got the rundown from the email that you guys send out. The match that seemed to have gotten cut was the Solo Sikoa match that was predicted to be on tonight. So, I mean, we only lost another Bloodline member, so it really didn't seem to do too much damage to the show. Even though when The Rock does talk, he does like to drag things out quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, they
What are
flowed
they-
with it though, so you didn't really notice it. So
I know, but how many commercial breaks did it go through? Did it go through 3 of them? I think. Like that's
At
a
least.
lot for a talking.
Yeah.
Jack says in the chat, SmackDown felt like talking smack
It
for that
did.
first 40 minutes.
It did.
It did for sure. That's a perfect explanation. I mean, you were watching Talking Smack, then SmackDown started.
I mean, it surprised me that he actually got away with saying a lot of the stuff that he did. It kind of does go back to that attitude era when he was big in WWE. So he's right. Like WWE is more as popular now as it was back then. Like when have we had all these sold out shows in a row for WWE? This is what was the 5th one in a row.
Yeah,
think-
it's been popular as ever right now. Like
Day is
Scalz
6
place.
already in San Antonio, so it's I don't remember the last time this has happened, and I'm excited about WWE's future and what we're gonna see.
Yeah, exactly. You hit it right on the head there too. So, ticket sales are doing great for WWE. I mean, AEW or excuse me, TNA just announced that they had a lot of pay-per-view buys for their last pay-per-view, and that was a surprise to a lot of us. So, wrestling's doing really well right now. So let's just hope it keeps up.
That guy Shadow in the chat says, "Who does he really have to answer to? He's on the board, ain't no one finding him."
True.
Not a bad point there, Shadow. Yeah, so I mean, I'm excited. I like how they added the stipulation, like Cam had said, in regards to this. So, I obviously, at least from my impression, is the Bloodline's going to be winning the match on night 1, because you're not going to go night 1 and not have The Rock come out there during the main event of the show. Like, why else would he be there?
Correct. Yeah, I think so too.
Do you think this tag team match is going to main event night 1?
Probably.
Or would they put EO versus Bailey in that spot?
Let's say do like a double main event kind of situation, and just say, oh yeah, this is a part of a double main event, and Bailey and EO is on first, and then we get the tag match, something like that.
Yeah.
I would think.
And I would prefer Bailey and EO get that main event spot, but I think it'd actually probably end up going to Rhea and Bailey, or Rhea and Becky, is just the way I look at it, just based off how they promoted things. I mean,
Right.
they didn't even invite Becky. They didn't even have Bailey go to Las Vegas for the kickoff press conference. So I hope I'm wrong there, but and we'll talk about Bailey, I'm sure, here in a few minutes. But yeah, I assume it's gonna close night 1. I prefer it to open night 1, but that's me.
Bailey and EO open night 1? I'd be okay with that. Or the tag match.
Either one, but I know The Rock's not going to open WrestleMania, so it's
That's not
so
happening.
it's.
I mean,
yeah,
the way you would counter that is he's going to be in the main event at Roman's side at night 2. So
yeah.
maybe
If
he'd
he's
be okay
wrestling,
with that.
I mean, I would say I don't know. I would say have Rhea Becky open night 1, and then I'd say do Bailey and EO main event.
Yeah,
I would
Bailey
be-
Bailey deserves it.
That feud that storyline deserves it. I mean that whole, when Damage Control turned on Bailey, that whole segment was just perfect. So
yes.
All right, so let's segue into the next part of the show. We had our first match of the evening, 45 minutes into the show, with Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton. Obviously, this is where some of the time got cut because we didn't even get to see Naomi's entrance. We just saw Tiffany coming out. They put on a good match between the two. I'm really liking what Tiffany's doing on the main roster. How do you feel about that, Rob?
Tiffany's great. She's been awesome. She's got it, and she's just continuing to get it. You know, that's what's great about her. And she's been in the ring with really good top talent. Naomi's top talent. I was actually surprised that I'm surprised Naomi's been taking pins lately. I really thought with her coming in, she'd be on a hot streak, but it makes sense for now because I think we'll see Naomi eventually kind of get tired of losing, and I think she'll be a great heel once she turns. That's just my opinion, and there's been no like hints or anything like that happening, but I think after WrestleMania we're gonna see her like jump up a little bit. I think her story, her character is gonna go up a little bit. That's just I think it wouldn't surprise me if she's one of the first challengers for Bayley. After not, I think they're going to go back to probably Io and Bayley for a little bit, or Damage Control for a little while. But I think after that, I could see it be Naomi and Bayley for sure. But I thought it was fine. Tiffany Stratton, it was a good match for what we got. And
Tiffany's just like, I don't know, like her talent is undeniable for somebody that's only been wrestling less than, 2 years? She's only been in the business. And as she says, she has the perfect moonsault. Like, it's just picture perfect almost every time she does it. I think she's finally adjusting to the length, though, because I feel like it's a little bit different on the main roster than NXT. She's overshot it a couple times, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. But
what was your thoughts, Cam? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rob. Sorry about that.
No, that's all. That's all I was saying. She's getting better and better.
Before I get my thoughts, is Liv's on SmackDown, right?
Liv is actually on Raw.
Oh. Well, I bring that up because, of what I saw from her in the Elimination Chamber, Tiffany Stratton. I mean, the two people I think that impressed me the most, obviously, was Liv Morgan, and another one was Tiffany Stratton. Now, I already know, watching her stuff from NXT, I already know how good Tiffany Stratton was. I just love how a lot of people in the community now are starting to realize that, and they're just like, oh man, Tiffany Stratton, she really impressed me. And I'm just like, hey, I've been knowing this. Like y'all are late to the party. Like I've known how good she is. And kudos to creative, kudos to Triple H. They let her go out there and just run wild essentially in that match. And I bring up Liv Morgan because I feel like that would be a good feud for her, but she's on Raw though. But other than that though, this match with her and Naomi, I was wondering why Naomi didn't get her entrance, but now I realize why. But I thought this match was decent for what it was. A feud between her and Naomi, I think, would be good too. It's a good starting point for Naomi, who just came back. And like I said, I think anybody you put Tiffany Stratton in there with, she's gonna have an amazing feud with, or great matches with. I think the company now trust her more. I think they tested her when they put her up against Becky in NXT, and they said, okay, let's see how good she really is. We put her up against a veteran like Becky. We put her up against someone who's already, in a main event, or someone who's, further down the card or whatever. And let's see how well she's able to work. So just based off of that, and I'm sure Becky has also backstage spread the word of how good she is and things like that, has also put her in the good graces of creative. So definitely they're definitely gonna treat her right. I don't think they're gonna do anything to hinder her success or hinder her momentum that she's got going right now. But this was a good match for what it was. Again, that picture perfect moonsault off the top rope is amazing. So yeah, good stuff from Tiffany Stratton.
I like that you brought up the chamber though, because in that match, the two main ones that stood out to me, like you said, was Liv Morgan and Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany, showed her what her abilities can do, what she can do, and now everybody sees it. And like you, I am a big proponent of NXT. Like my name says right below it, I think NXT is the best weekly show, period. It's the most consistent product. It has the best stories, coherentness, everything. So when she came up to the main roster, I already knew what she could do. And I'm excited to see what happens next with Liv Morgan, because this revenge tour that she's on, I'm excited to see what happens next, because now she's going after Becky from interfering with Nia Jax this past Monday Night on Raw. So I'm curious as to see how it goes from there.
They showed. See, the only thing, the one thing that I have been desperately wanting for Liv for a while now is just character development, because there's like not really much there. It always seems like they're going in a direction with Liv, and then they just drop it immediately. What I saw from her in the chamber was there was a little bit more attitude there. There was a little more like almost a heel persona. I think her shirt said something like "cry about it" or something like that. So
Yeah.
it was like it's a little bit more of a heel persona there. I know the fans in Australia, they were 100% behind Tiffany Stratton, and they were not happy when she got eliminated. So and she was just like, cry about it, So I like that. I'm like, if they dig into that a little bit more, hey, you'll get a Liv Morgan fan out of me for sure, because I want to see more of a character from her. So
After that match, we had Bailey and Dakota Kai versus the Kabuki Warriors with Io Sky. I mean, we all had to know what was going to happen tonight, right? When they announced this match?
Yeah.
If they couldn't make it more obvious, like...
Yeah. That was completely, I was going to say, they made this one a little too obvious for my liking, but it made sense for the story. You let Bailey overcome this. I like, and I know we'll get to the ending, like after the match, like what we saw after the match, and I like that. That adds a little bit more intrigue for me. But I think it gives Bailey that even more. Bailey already had a lot of us like rooting for her to win this title, but now I think it's getting just even more, like it's just getting there even bigger for her. So I think the crowd's going to definitely be for Bailey, obviously, and I think it's just getting that momentum's just going to keep building for her. So
if she doesn't win at Mania,
that
crowd is not going to be happy.
Right. It's going to be like
they thought the riot. I was going to say, if they thought the riots were bad in Philly when they lost the Super Bowl, it might be bad after that.
Yeah.
It'd be like that Cena sheet, like at the Hammerstein Ballroom back at the ECW One Night Stand. Mm-hmm. If Cena wins, we riot. It'd be if Bailey loses, we riot. So,
and they are in ECW in the ECW area, so they do know how to do it.
Yeah,
the fans are crazy, essentially.
Yeah, that's for sure. I don't like Philly.
Yeah, Philly's Philly. Like that's the best way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were going to wait until the
Mania.
match itself at Mania, and I'm glad they didn't, in the sense because at that point you had to feel she was going to lose if they turned on her there. Now this gives me more hope that she's actually going to win and walk out with the belt.
Yeah, like what gave it away for me was pretty much right away in this match when Bailey and Dakota got in the ring and they went after the Kabuki Warriors, and you see Dakota try to reach for, I think it was Asuka. I can't remember, but like that's when I just knew. I'm like, okay, she's turning, because she didn't really reach out for, like, she didn't put any effort into it, like, so I just knew, like, I'm like, yeah, she's turning. I already had a feeling she was turning, but that's when I knew it was happening. Like, she's gonna turn here in a few minutes, and sure enough, she did. And I think that's actually good, because Dakota Kai's a good heel.
She's a better heel than face. Yeah, I will agree with that. Shout out, in my opinion, the sympathy angles played out. It would have been great to see the beatdown and Mercedes music to hit, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, We all would have loved to seen that for them to come back together, but we all know she has other big business to attend to.
Well played.
But I mean, the match ended with a no contest. They beat up Bailey, pretty much left her in the ring. And then we go into the back, which is what I think you were talking about earlier, what you were alluding to, where they're celebrating her back, and they go up to they see Jade Cargill, and they just have a standoff. And I'm excited to see where this goes from here. So, are we gonna get Jade on SmackDown? Because we still don't know where she's going.
I think that was the hint. Like tonight, I think that kind of gave it away that she's going to be on SmackDown. And what I like about that is I think this gives WWE the opportunity to put Jade at WrestleMania, like put her in Bailey's corner if you want to. If you want to, you could do something like that. So,
when are we going to get her first match?
I don't know. That's
probably after Mania. SmackDown after Mania, Raw after Mania, something like that.
That I could see happening for sure.
I don't know. I know that she's been training, and I know she's working at the PC and everything, but it is kind of a long time that we haven't her. I do like that they're showing her on TV, though, to keep her fresh in everybody's mind. So this way, when she does wrestle, hopefully she makes a bigger impression and she sticks and is a superstar that I want her to be.
Yeah, and you're right. She is wrestling like at the PC, so she is having matches and she is training with. The one thing that a lot of people don't realize is the one person she was training with a lot before he left was William Regal. William Regal's at the NXT PC now, so she's with him again. So that's a good thing.
I kind of wanted her to go to Raw, just because it kind of spreads out those, those top names right now, those free agents that they promoted, like, I said Tiffany Stratton, Braun Breaker, and now her. So with Braun on SmackDown and Tiffany on SmackDown, now you put Jade on SmackDown. So they got three big signings over there on SmackDown. And especially in the women's division, I mean, you look at the SmackDown women's division. The SmackDown women's division right now is like stacked. Raw. I mean, they've got some names over there too, but it's not the same on the Raw women's division. So I thought they were going to put her on Raw just to give Raw kind of like a boost. But it makes sense in the long run, because right now SmackDown, I think, has the top story right now with everything going on with Damage Control and Bailey and Io. So it has the top story going on right now. The biggest story going on right now on Raw is just with Rhea and Becky, but it's not. But even that's big, but even that's not necessarily on the same level. Because I mean, you got the betrayal of Damage Control and everybody's behind Bailey and stuff like that. So it doesn't really have the same backing or same support, same hype that Bailey Io has. So it makes sense if they are going to put her on SmackDown. So,
and I mean, typically WWE does the draft in usually after Mania, right? Has that been the recent time that they've done it? Because I know they were doing it in October.
They've done it that way. It'll be interesting to see how they do it next, because SmackDown will be moving in the fall to USA, and right now we know that Raw doesn't have a home starting in October to January. Like right now, they will have a home eventually. Where it'll be is up for debate. I don't know why it's not staying on USA, but for that time being, but maybe it's an NFL thing. I don't have any idea why they're not doing it, but we'll find out in the long run what it's all about. But it'll be interesting to see when they do the draft, because I know they're going to want a lot of people watching on Netflix, and I know they're going to want to have a lot of people watching on Fridays too. So it'll be pretty interesting.
Maybe we eventually do get the start of the new year be like roster refresh. But then that doesn't make sense with only 3 months before Mania. Like, it really makes sense to do it after Mania when all the stories typically reset. So maybe we don't see one this year with all these new free agent signings coming up from NXT, all the free agents they're bringing in from outside. So maybe that's just how they change up the rosters a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think they do, just based off what you said about the Netflix deal. So I think they're going to keep things the same relatively for primarily the rest of the year. I mean, we'll have to see around, probably like after SummerSlam and after, what is it, like Hell in a Cell or whatever, Survivor Series, somewhere around there, like in the fall, spring, towards the end of the spring, in the fall, whatever, and see where we're at a standpoint in terms of like storylines or whatever, and feuds or whatever we got going on at that time. And I think we'll go from there, because I definitely think you might. I mean, who knows? You might see a world title swap for all I know. You could see Cody get drafted to Raw. You could see the world champion at that time, whether it's Seth or whoever, Drew, whoever, go to SmackDown. Who knows? They could do something they could do something to really, really throw us off and really, really shake things up. So, but I think because of the Netflix deal, I don't think they're going to change things up right now, but probably, January next year, we'll already, they'll be thinking about doing a roster or a draft or whatever, something of that nature. I don't even know if we're going to get like a formal draft, or if it's just going to be a shakeup where we just see, SmackDown wrestlers come out on Raw and Raw wrestlers come out on SmackDown.
Yeah,
So
I could see a trade maybe, or something like just or like you said, superstar shakeup is probably the best way to go.
After that, we had essentially a squash match. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. It lasted pretty much 3 seconds. It was Braun Breaker taking on Zion Quinn, and I noticed the tweet that you put out, Rob, that Zion was one of the names you could cross off of the injured lists, return, and you said this was the first time you've ever had to do more than one person, I think.
More than two at one time, yeah. Because I got to take off Dakota Kai, Rey Mysterio, and Zion Quinn tonight, and so
I mean,
yeah,
Zion Quinn was probably put right back on it after that spear.
yeah.
But we lead into the next segment, which was Santos Escobar speaking to Humberto and Angel and Lopez. And did that set look familiar to you?
It did.
Was that the family restaurant from the Don in NXT?
I did not. It just looked familiar, but I don't know if that was it. I mean, maybe it was. Going back on it, I don't know.
Because when I was watching, I was like, I like how they threw that back to NXT, because Santos has the relationship with the family from when he was with Legado. So I do like that little throwback if it was. But this led into they had a little video package. They did a tribute to for Virgil, who unfortunately had passed away earlier this week. And then we had a great street fight between Santos and Carlito, between the match itself and everything that happened within it. Yeah. What was your thoughts on the match?
It was it's funny because when Carlito's one of those guys that back when WWE wasn't as fun, Carlito was actually fun for me. I actually really enjoyed him. And watching him go against somebody that I really enjoy in Escobar I was excited for this match. It was one of the matches I was looking forward to, and then I got even surprised even more with the way it ended. So it was just a nice surprise, like all together, seeing the return of Rey Mysterio. Overall, I thought it was good. I think the best thing is Rey Mysterio being back. He adds... Rey Mysterio is one of those characters that's absolutely just loved and adored, and he brings excitement for the average fan, and that's good for pro wrestling. and I thought it was good. You know, that's really the crowd was really into it, and I think it went over. I think it went over better than they anticipated. Honestly, that's the way I looked at it.
We got to see Carlito spitting the apple back in Escobar's face. I thought that was great tonight. Going back, little old school for Carlito.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Cam?
Well, like I said, you see it right there in my name. Put some respect on Ray, because I mean, there's there's so many people in the community that's like, oh, he needs to retire, and oh, he's lost a step or two and all that stuff like that. Over the past, I think like week or so, I mean, he was I think he was recently at a I saw a clip where he was at a UFC event or whatever, and they showed him on screen, and he gets this massive pop from a UFC crowd. So that just tells you how loved this man is.
Yeah, he's universally loved, and you hit it right on the head. Like, they usually, like, there's certain people when they show them, like at a UFC crowd, they usually get booed. There's certain people when they show the Undertaker, it's usually cheers. Rey Mysterio, it's cheers. Stone Cold, when they showed him back in the day, cheers. The guys that these people grew up with, they love. Rey Mysterio is one of those guys that, like, if I had kids, I know, like, I'm sure they would like him if they were watching. That's the thing. Kids react so well to him because of the mask. It was the same thing with what I used to say about the Usos way back when they wore face paint. I said the reason why they were such a popular tag team was why? Because of the face paint. Kids absolutely love that. That's how you become a star. That's why Jeff Hardy got even more popular than his brother. It goes down to the face paint. The Ultimate Warrior. If he didn't have face paint, nobody would have cared.
Sting.
Sting. Like it comes down to that from a standpoint, and
they like to resonate with the
and they like the mask because it's a superhero thing for them. So,
but no, I loved seeing Ray come back. Massive pop for him. Never seen him. I don't think I've ever seen a louder pop for Ray ever. So that was great. He came down, and I knew like when he came down in the crutches, I was like, man, if he drops those crutches and just starts like full on sprinting to the ring. But it was great though. I mean, he was going to town with those crutches or whatever.
Yeah.
Hit a clean 619. So it's great to see him back. I love the mask he was wearing. It was basically the one he wore at WrestleMania. This one was just all black. So he looks great, like I said. So it's awesome to see him back.
Like Shadow said, Grey Muta. That's like one of the masks like the Grey Muta would wear.
Yeah,
like that's
exactly.
Very honorable of that.
So, but the match between Carlito and Santos, I thought was a great match as well too. Like I said, speaking about the crowd, I mean, the crowd was red hot all night. And I think that just from how SmackDown started with the whole Rock promo or whatever, and they never got tired. They just stayed at that level pretty much the entire show. So they were great.
Yeah.
Rob, Shadow had a question for you.
Oh, sure.
Do you think it's time to change Braun's name to Steiner instead of Breaker?
Oh, I would have had it. It would have been Steiner from the get-go if it was up to me. You go with what gets people to watch, because the thing is I come from a marketing standpoint. You go from what people know. People love Scott Steiner. They love the Steiners in general. So when you bring that name out, Steiner, like, hey, Steiner? Oh, that must be one of the Steiner's kids. You go with that. It's a WWE thing, why they didn't do it. But in the long run, I hope he does change it. That's just me.
What can knowing Triple H, I think the Steiner name is coming. Knowing him, so
I think
I think it's going to be sooner than later in regards to the name happening. And he's like the perfect mix between both his dad and his uncle.
Yeah, and he is. And the other thing too is Triple H and Scott, they buried their hatchet, so so that they should be good to go. And it gives WWE a reason to print money, because those Steiner shirts are gonna sell. They just will. So
absolutely. I think they're gonna do it kind of like how they did the Pete Dunne thing. I think they're gonna lay it out, and something significant has to happen with some storyline, and then it'll make sense of why he's taking up the Steiner name. So
Yes,
As much as I
that's a good
hated,
point.
much as I hated the name Butch, I loved the way that they did it and brought back his name. They played it out so well, and it actually leads into the next segment with the new Catch Republic now, which is Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. They were talking to Nick Aldis backstage, and Nick Aldis, with a little tease, him and Adam Pearce have an announcement coming up about the tag division soon. Is this where they're going to split the tag titles and we each have them back on each show?
I hope so, but I mean, I don't know. Every time I try to anticipate they're going to do something, I'm usually wrong. So I just kind of let them play it by ear. But I think based on what they were talking about, I assume that's where they're going. Otherwise, I'm kind of wondering, are they doing a tournament to get to be a contender? It's one of the two. It's either they're going to split them up, or they're going to do a tournament.
I was a very big proponent of combining the titles. As long as the champ was going to both shows, and we don't see it enough happening with Judgment Day right now, traveling to SmackDown, defending the titles over there. And why are they still carrying around both sets of belts? That's the key giveaway that they're going to split them back up, is that they never got rid of them and put them back into one.
Yeah.
So I feel that we're going to get an announcement shortly, and I think what they're going to do is they'll probably take one of them away from the Judgment Day, and then they'll have a tournament to crown the new champion at WrestleMania. And hopefully there's new belts introduced, because those belts need to be changed.
I mean, I think what I'm with you on that, Scalz. I'm a big advocate for somebody who wants them just to combine the belts and just have one set of titles. And then, like I said, that those champions can just move between all three brands. Might as well. Just NXT too. Might as well include NXT as well. Mm-hmm. But if that's not the case, I mean, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, because I mean, they've done a great job at trying to rebuild the Raw tag team division and SmackDown tag team division. So it doesn't appear that way. I think they're building up, legitimate threats to the tag team division and tag team titles.
It's the most stacked it's been in years,
for sure. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to do the same thing they did with the women's titles. They're going to get rid of the whole red and blue straps, get rid of the all the Raw the Raw and SmackDown names in the championship name, and I think we get back what we had. What it was, early 2000s. We get like the World Tag Team titles and then the WWE Tag Team titles. So we get two new sets of designs for SmackDown and Raw exclusively.
I just hope it's not the same designs as the main titles.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But I mean, I wouldn't be don't hold your breath and be expecting something like super creative. But I don't think they're going to be the same titles, the same design necessarily. It's just you definitely won't see them be called Raw, SmackDown titles. I think they're going to do away with those names, and I think they're going to do away with the red and blue straps. So,
sure.
What do we think of LA Knight walking around with the chair from Elimination Chamber, saying AJ Styles' name's on it?
It's crazy to see the shape that chair was in. I mean, he was wearing him out with that chair.
Yeah, that's true. It's one of those. See, the problem is, and I know I'm open about this. I am a AJ guy, so I'm always for AJ to win. I want AJ to win this feud, and I have a feeling he won't, because LA Knight has won every feud he's been part of lately, obviously, because he's just popular as he can be, except for obviously the Roman one. I like this, but I liked how Nick told him, I told AJ not to be here this week and next week, or I think he said this week, or maybe he said both weeks. I can't remember.
I think he said this week.
I know he said this week. I didn't hear the week.
Maybe after. Okay, then it was Okay, then it was just this week. I'm thinking of something else. And so, yeah, this week. So next week, I think we'll see them, and I'm sure we'll see LA Knight probably get a shot in, unless that's where we maybe see Tomatonga come in, maybe, possibly. Who knows? That would be a good spot for him to get in there. I've been rooting for that for a long time. I want Tama in there with AJ.
I think we're gonna get Tama more with the Good Brothers, and then they form back the original Bullet Club from years back.
Yeah, I said this the other. I don't remember if I was on a show or if it was like somebody on Twitter that asked me, but I think the OC is kind of like doing their thing in NXT to kind of get their ways back, to kind of get their find their way back, and once they get that, I think it'll be pretty fun.
To go back to the roots, like how Finn did when he went down there.
To kind of find to find basically who they are, and I think once they find it, I think we'll see them maybe kind of run things. That's what I'm hoping.
I did like how LA Knight said, "This guy flew halfway across the world just to take me out. I need to find him." Like, like I like how they pointed that out. Like he had no other reason to be there except to do this. But Shadow had another question. When are we getting any Hall of Fame announcements?
Last year they announced
coming close.
Last year they announced them in March. I think it was around I don't think it was the first Raw of March. I think it was the second. So, I mean, the second Raw of March. So it could be like any time. Like literally, it could be this next Raw. So it'll start like any time.
You think there'll be like a theme this year, like an ECW theme, since they are in Philly?
It really depends, because I honestly thought that Paul Heyman was going to be the headliner. But part of me thinks that Bray Wyatt might be the headliner.
I think my personal opinion is that they should do ECW with Paul Heyman and that, and then next year, just Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. That's it.
I don't think they'll.
I know they won't.
Yeah, I would like that. I don't think they would do that, but I think it'd be great if Luke goes in there too. I would love it if both those guys go in there, but I would but I do think Bray, that's just me. I think Bray goes in this year. And I think he deserves to go in too, because he was a different character that we've never really seen before. Like, I mean, a lot of people compared him to the Undertaker in a way, because he just had that supernatural like feel to him. But he also had there was just something where you just also liked him too. There was just where a lot of people related to him so well, and I just think he is one of those guys that, based off everything you've heard about him too, like story-wise, like from behind the scenes, he was well loved by everyone. I don't see how I can't see how they don't put him in, really. If they don't headline him, that's fine, I guess. I just think that's the way they're going, and I could see Paul Heyman being completely I think Paul Heyman is one of those guys where he'd be happy just being in it type thing. Like, it's an honor for him. So I don't think it's an ECW thing, like, really, because what if Paul Heyman's the only person they put in there? Then it won't really need to be an ECW thing. So, because there's part of me that thinks Tommy Dreamer should be there too.
That Tommy Dreamer, maybe Sid Vicious, like there's a whole bunch of names you could
there's
say
so
that
many
should
people.
be in it. And I felt this would have been a good time to do it because they are in Philly. And they had the chance to do where ECW was essentially built.
The other thing too, why Bray should I like Bray for Philly is that's where he returned too at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it'd be a great place for him.
Yeah, I regret not going to that show. Like I've had the chance to go to certain things, and it's like, oh, there'll be other times that I can go, and you realize that's not the case. You got to take advantage of when you can.
Yeah.
But let's get back onto the positive things of SmackDown. Talk about the good things that happened tonight. We ended up, now we get to the main event with Randy Orton versus Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, and you had Kevin Owens on commentary, which I think is always a treat because he just adds so much to it by just sitting there and talking, and it's great. This match started out pretty good. I enjoyed this match. I mean, it's Randy Orton. Like, you know it's going to be a good match. But what'd you guys think?
Man, it sounds weird, but I actually find myself liking Randy more on this particular run in his career probably in a while. I'm not a huge Randy guy. Of course, I appreciate just the years and years of hard work that he's put into his business and things like that. Definitely one of the most recognizable vets left in the game, other than people like Ray and people that I mentioned before. But I don't know what it is. It's just it's this run for me since he came back just feels natural for him. Like, you know what I mean? It just feels like he looks, when you look at him on screen, he just looks so relaxed and so in his element now, as opposed to some years prior. Like, I don't think I've seen him look this relaxed or so comfortable since maybe, oh gosh, I don't know, Age of Orton, probably when he was on that massive run, probably since then, honestly. Every other run, it just kind of, I don't know, it just felt a little forced, but this run just feels more natural. So I'm loving everything he does right now. He put on a great match tonight. He had a fantastic showing in the Elimination Chamber. I love how they got it down to the final two. I don't know with the back situation with him. I don't know if it's just excellent selling or if his back is really bothering him. I hope not. I personally, I think it's just I think mainly it's just excellent selling from him. But yeah, it's great.
Excellent selling, he wouldn't have been there tonight.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what I'm saying. I think
the way
it's just
I look at it.
Yeah, I think it's just excellent selling from him. More of the reason to just love Randy Orton. He's great at what he does. We've seen we already, since he's been back, we've seen 4 of probably some of the best RKOs I think he's done. He hit another one. He hit another great one tonight on Austin Theory
from the roll up. Yeah,
from
when
the
he
roll
did
up, that was clean. I like that one a lot. I like the one he hit literally from out of nowhere on Logan Paul to eliminate Logan Paul Elimination Chamber. He hit another great one on Grayson Waller after the match. But it was a good match. Like I said, Randy Orton has got good things going for him right now. I guess it's going to be, and this is what I want to talk about. This is what I wanted to mention before about the LA Knight thing. I had seen, them doing, or I had seen, Logan Paul possibly getting involved after his elimination in Elimination Chamber. But I had more so seen maybe, I don't know, LA Knight eliminating Logan Paul and then him getting involved and then costing LA Knight elimination and setting that up for WrestleMania. LA Knight versus Logan Paul for the United States title. But they completely went another direction, and they had Logan Paul cost Randy Orton. I love the little clip that they showed from his Instagram or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, my back, I can't get up," and that was great. And it was just like on cue, he just rolls up, hits Randy with the brass knucks. So that was great. So I guess they're setting up Orton versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania for the United States title, which I'm not opposed to. I think that'd be a good match for him. I don't really know what Kevin does. It kind of seems like he might be out in the dark for right now. because I think they're obviously going with LA Knight and AJ Styles. I would assume. So I don't know unless they group him in with, Randy and Paul. I'm not really sure what they go with it there, but yeah,
I think that might actually happen. I can see that being a triple threat match just based on how the way that match ended at Elimination Chamber, and then tonight they did give each other like a fist bump, but there was, if you watch Kevin Owens, there was a little bit of a hesitation at first.
Yeah.
So I kind of noticed that, and I think that kind of fits because he still had issues with Logan Paul, and that never really finished out. So there's still a little story there. So I think that's the way to go because that's what I think would be best for the story is to go that route. But that's again just my opinion.
And like I said, and you get Owens and Logan Paul feud to continue without it being Paul and Owens again so soon after they just had a one-on-one match. So
yeah,
I can see that too.
And then and that's the other thing too. You get Randy Orton and Kevin Owens going at it, and those two are great. And the one thing too that you said that caught my attention is Randy Orton just seems so much more comfortable now. And I think a lot of that is I don't think and this is just my opinion, I don't think he has as much stress on him because he's not doing house shows really right now. He's just, and I think he's having fun. I think that's a lot of it because he was at home for over a year dealing with a back issue and things like that. And the other point about Kevin Owens I wanted to make is that guy's got a job for life, in my opinion. Like once he's done with in-ring action, he could do commentary. He'd be absolutely perfect at it. So,
see, I think this Randy Orton to me compares to what we saw during the pandemic when he was doing all those different things out of the ring, when he was doing the janitor skits, like all those different things like those. Like he seemed to be having fun there, and now he's just having fun being able to do it in the ring on a consistent basis. I personally would like to see a ladder match for the United States Championship at Mania with Orton, Kevin Owens, Paul, AJ Styles, Knight, and then you can put in Cameron Grimes as like the sixth member for that.
Love me some Cameron Grimes. Yes, sir.
Because I think we're going to end up getting Waller versus Theory for that match, because I think that's where they're going with what they're doing with all the teases between the two of them. But I think they should do, I've always said they should do a ladder match every year and name it their Razor Ramon Memorial Ladder Match. And then alternate every year between the two different mid-card titles. So this way, every year, one of them is get featured in that match.
Correct. Yep. I agree 100% with that. They need to have the Scott Hall Memorial Ladder Match, and that would make me happy. That would make me absolutely happy, because one of the first ladder matches I ever watched was WrestleMania 10. So
I just think that'd be a great way to honor him, and it's an easy way to get 6 people on the card, as opposed to having a 6-man tag match. Like those multi-man matches like that always seem to work better, because then you get the big spots, you get people showing off what they could do. It makes people stand out, and people take notice of what they can do. Yeah,
and in my opinion, I don't want them to do a Andre the Giant Battle Royal on SmackDown the night before. I want them to do it on a pre-show. My opinion is, if you are on the WWE roster, you deserve to be part of WrestleMania. Even if it's a pre-show, you deserve to be part of that card. So that's my thing. If it's a 5-way match, 6-way match, whatever, I'm fine with it. Whatever gets people on the card, as long as they don't go overboard with it. That's why I want like an Andre the Giant Battle Royal for the men, and then whatever they want to call it, if they want to call it the Andre the Giant Battle Royal for the women. I know they had a different name. They had, what did they call it? The was it the
Mae Young?
The Mae Young,
like
yeah. And
I think they should call it China. They should be for China.
There you go. Exactly. That's what they should do. But yeah.
Who are we? They won't listen to us.
I've tried.
More than likely, no. But
yeah, I've tried.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the entire SmackDown. It was a good show, had a nice flow to it. Once we got past the 40-minute talk show, the matches just seemed to flow. Like they got every match had a little bit of time compared to except for the Braun Breaker Zion Quinn match. But I thought they did a great job tonight, continuing all stories and expanding on them.
Yeah, I would agree. I enjoyed tonight's SmackDown quite a bit.
You have any final thoughts before we head on out for the night?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I see that that guy Shadow had one more question. Who would win a triple threat match in Extreme Rules match? Drew Love versus Mankind versus Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack. That's. I've driven through Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. He'd win.
So, at the end of all our shows, Rob, we like to say where we're from and where people can find you. So, where can everybody find you?
All right, you can find me on X at Rob Wilkins. Otherwise, I'm on Instagram at Fight4Rob. I'm also on Threads at Fight4Rob. Every Friday at 3:00 Eastern, I am on Fightful Overbooked for Coexisting with Rob and Maggie. We have a good show. It goes about an hour and a half, usually every week, just talking everything that goes on during the week. I also have a new show that'll be starting next week. It's just a movie review show that'll be on Fightful Overbooked with me and one of my co-hosts his name is Gisberto Guzzo. And this week we interviewed Mace Armase, Mace and Madden, and we reviewed the movie Kill Bill Volume 1. So, good times.
Cam, where can we find you?
You can find me on TikTok at Cam's Wrestling Corner and at Call Me Cam G. You can find me right here every single Friday night with Friday Night Review, immediately following SmackDown with Scalz and normally Jamie. All right, here on Off the Top Media. And then you can find me on our sister page on Rivet City Radio every single Monday night following Monday Night Raw with the table spot with me, the Alpha Wolf Sean, and of course Metalcore Mike. And then you can find me on Wednesday nights on Rivet City Radio after AEW Dynamite with another edition of The Boom with me, Mike, and Phil Kahn. And then you can find me on Twitter at Cam and Cheese 317. You can find me on Instagram at 317 Bacon, Eggs, and Cam.
I am Scalz. Again, Rob, thank you for coming out tonight. It was an honor to have you on our show.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, anytime, man. Let me know. I enjoyed myself tonight, so thank you.
We appreciate it. We really do. I am Scalz. You can find me here on Off the Top Media on both TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. If you are looking for shows, we have one I host on Friday nights, which is this one we're here at Friday Night Review. And then Tuesdays, we do NXT on Tap, where myself, Jax, and Phil discuss everything that happened on NXT. I want to thank everybody for coming on out tonight. Make sure you follow all of us here. Give Rob a follow on Twitter. His account is great. Between him and the other Fightful accounts, they do a great job with everything, and we appreciate all the work that they do. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and we hope we'll see you soon. Have a great evening.